On episode 43, we're talking about a startup spending $60,000 on direct mail, using video, and what numbers you should be tracking. Hey everybody, what's up and welcome to the 88 Dental Marketing Show. This is the internet's only dental show that's answering marketing's most important questions. I am your host, Joshua Scott, and this is episode number 43. Got some good questions for you today on the show, some good ones that came up in the last few weeks that I wanted to share with you. So we're gonna talk about direct mail and video and key numbers we should be tracking. But before we get to that, two quick things. The new article for April is up. You'll find the link down below. But the article is called The Glitch Report. And it's actually taken from a Four Seasons hotel concept, kind of from an insider's view on how they handle glitches with their customers. And I think it's a really great article when it comes to dental practices and dealing with those patients who maybe don't have as good of an experience as they could have or that you wanted them to. And so you'll find the links down below. Take a look at that. Let me know your thoughts and comments. I'd love to hear them. And then also, for any of you involved in local study clubs or dental societies, or maybe you run one, my new speech topic for this year is the top 5 trends in dental marketing. And so if you're interested in bringing somebody in to talk about marketing, I'd love to chat with you about it. Marketing, it's one of those topics. It's a ton of fun to talk about. Sometimes it gives everybody a break from the clinical lectures and CE that they're used to getting. And so we'll have a lot of fun. You'll look like a hero and it'll be a good time. So links to that are down below as well. And let's get to the first question.
Our first question is from Mandy. I just heard a marketing company say that everyone needs to be using video on their website. Is this true?
Hey, Mandy, great question. The answer is yes and no. Everybody knows right now video's killing it. It indexes better, search is better, the engagement's better. So we all know those things. However, I want to see some other pieces in place first. Video makes no sense on your website if your website is not mobile friendly. And so let's address that first. Video makes no sense if the website doesn't have custom photography. Let's get that done first. It's way less expensive. Video doesn't make much sense if the local SEO isn't good and nobody's paying attention to that. And so there's some pieces that need to be built first, some of these foundational pieces. And then once we get those handled and we feel good about those, then let's move on to video. And so with that in mind, I think, if you're talking about video for the website, man, I want it to look great. I want it to be professionally produced. I want it to match the look and the vibe of your site. If we're talking about just putting stuff on Facebook and using video for social media, pull out your phone, pull out the iPhone, take some reviews of patients, testimonials, snap some things here and there in the office. That's completely fine. So website, I want it looking produced and sharp. Social media, man, make it look like it's real, it's authentic, it's coming right out of the practice. So those are my thoughts.
Question number 2 is from Derek. I'm launching a startup. Another national marketing company told me I should plan over $60,000 in direct mail the first year. Is that the way to go?
Derek, really good questions. And I think that there's 2 reasons for this, right? Number 1 is most likely that company started in the 90s and they started as a direct mail company. That's what they did. And then secondly, man, direct mail is profitable. It's profitable for you if it works, but it's profitable for them as well. And so in the direct mail industry, I've seen margins 25, 30%. And so that's why they're recommending it and advising it. So $60,000 for a startup, is that crazy? No. If I was advising you to spend on direct mail as a startup practice, that's probably the budget I would be recommending as well. So, but here's the deal. You're gonna spend $60,000 in direct mail. You're gonna get 80, 100, maybe 120 new patients, okay? And so if you get 80, you spent $750 to acquire each new patient. That's your new patient acquisition cost. That's fairly standard when it comes to direct mail. So even if you got up to 120 new patients, that's $500 per new patient. That's really good. So maybe your market plays really well to direct mail and you get a great return, but that's still the average acquisition cost. My advice, I literally think you could take half of that. If you spent $30,000 in digital between reviews and Facebook and maybe Instagram and AdWords and some plays like that, I think you could see 120, 150, 180 new patients for that $30,000. So in that case, you spend $30,000, you get 120, that's $250 per new patient. And that's the range that we're seeing in the digital play, the digital world. And so as a startup, man, I think my advice is jump over all that traditional media. Just jump right ahead to what's working, what's cutting edge now. Get involved in digital, get involved in social, cut your new patient acquisition numbers down because it matters more. You're on a budget, and just leave all that other stuff to the side. Let somebody else do it.
Question number 3, Dr. Lowry wants to know, what marketing numbers should I track?
Dr. Lowry, it's a question I get asked a lot as we're trying to get a handle on marketing. What are the key numbers we should be tracking? And honestly, to start, baseline, there's really only about 3. And so the first one we're always looking at is production and collections, because we want to tie the marketing investment to what's actually coming in and being produced. Second would be new patients every month by source. Where does every single new patient come from? And then third, the marketing budget, what we're spending, the expenses. And so those are the 3 main things I'm gonna be looking at, just on a base level to start. Now, beyond that, I want to keep a handle on new patient acquisition cost. We talked about this a little bit in the last question, but if we spend $1,000 on something and we get 4 new patients, that's $250 a new patient. So I want to have a handle on that. I see this a lot right now with Yellow Pages. The practices, I know, yes, some practices still spend money on Yellow Pages, and this is the number we track. If they spent $10,000 and they had 5 patients all year, man, that's a lot of money for each new patient. So new patient acquisition costs. And then the last one we can look at is the ROI of those new patients. So over the next year, 12 months, 18 months, what's the return on the investment? So you may have spent $750 on them to acquire them through direct mail, but maybe over the next 18 months, they spent $2,400. Is that a good deal? Yeah, it's a good deal. And so we always want to weigh that. It's not all about the acquisition cost. It's also about the return on investment. And so obviously the lower and the higher, the better, but sometimes they get a little bit closer and you're still weighing them out and they're still a good deal. Now, a few other thoughts. When tracking new patients by source every month, I want every new patient accounted for. Where did they come from? And so a lot of times we have a blank category or an other category, or just even uncategorized new patients. And we get 2 or 3 or 5 of those a month, but over the course of the year, now we've got 48, 60 new patients that we're not tracked. We don't know where they came from. And that can skew and throw any budget item. And so I always want to make sure every month, every single new patient has a category. Where did they come from? And so those are key numbers I would be tracking and be watching. I hope that helps. Guys, this has been episode number 43. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you've got questions for future episodes, please, man, leave them down below in the comments. Hit me up, email, website, Facebook, however you can. We'll make sure that those questions get on a future episode. And before I leave you, your homework question of the day: how's your new patient tracking going? How many of these uncategorized new patients do you have each month? So take a look at that, maybe do a little audit of your system, find out how many actually are not getting categorized, and straighten that out with your team. Make sure it gets tightened up, and you'll be glad you did. So guys, thanks so much for being here and for watching. This has been episode 43. I'll see you next time.